Tell me this, why have the last few days felt unusually heavy, yet strangely meaningful? Doesn't it feel like something is shifting around you? Most people ignore that sensation. But you noticed it, and that already says a lot. Tonight carries a rare cosmic reveal, the kind that quietly pushes certain people into a higher path without warning. And if this message reached you right now, it's because your energy is tuning into changes you haven't fully understood yet. In this video, we will talk about the 5 signs that show you're being lifted into a new direction, subtle signals that appear when your spirit is stepping out of its old timeline. Maybe you've felt a sudden disconnect from things you once cared about. Maybe you're sensing patterns, flashes of clarity, or emotional waves that hit without reason. Or maybe life has started removing people and situations that were holding you back. Whatever it is, you're not imagining it. Stay here for a moment. What's happening tonight could explain everything you've been feeling. One of the clearest signs you're entering a higher path is the sudden calm that appears in moments where you used to react instantly. It's not that life has become easier, it's that you've changed. Your inner response system is maturing, and situations that once pulled you into stress, anger, or worry no longer have the same power over you. This shift happens quietly, almost without you noticing, until a moment arrives where you think, normally this would have upset me, but I'm okay. This calmness is not emotional numbness. It's emotional mastery. It shows that your mind and spirit are aligning in a way that helps you respond rather than react. For example, arguments that once drained your energy suddenly feel unnecessary. Unexpected delays or disappointments don't send you spiraling, they simply make you adjust and move forward. You're no longer controlled by external chaos because your inner world is becoming stronger than the noise around you. This transformation is a powerful sign of spiritual elevation. When your peace becomes harder to disturb, your path becomes clearer. And that calmness is the universe's way of telling you that you're stepping into a version of yourself that's more grounded, wiser, and ready for the next level. A major sign you're entering a higher path is the sudden shift in what matters to you. Things that once felt important, impressing others, chasing approval, keeping up with trends, start losing their appeal. Instead, you feel drawn toward peace, growth, purpose, and meaningful connections. This isn't a random change. It's your spirit outgrowing the old version of you. You may notice yourself pulling away from routines that drain your energy. Maybe you no longer enjoy certain conversations, or you're uninterested in habits that once distracted you. You might feel motivated to reorganize your life, clean your environment, or set stronger boundaries. These shifts show that your mind is separating from old cycles and preparing for a new direction. For example, you might find yourself choosing rest over chaos, self-respect over people-pleasing, or authenticity over fitting in. This change can feel surprising because it happens quickly, almost like your inner compass suddenly reset. But this is the natural progression of someone stepping into a higher frequency. When your priorities shift, it means you're aligning with a future version of yourself who knows exactly where you're going, even if you don't fully see it yet. Another sign you're rising to a higher path is the growing discomfort you feel around negativity. Chaos, gossip, and drama used to feel normal or at least tolerable, but now even small doses drain your energy quickly. It's not that you're becoming antisocial, it's that your spirit is rejecting anything that lowers your vibration. You may notice that certain conversations feel heavy, or that you lose interest halfway through situations that revolve around conflict. It becomes easier to walk away from arguments instead of proving your point. You protect your peace more intentionally, not out of fear, but because you've realized how much your environment affects your growth. For example, you might step back from a group chat that's always filled with complaints. You may stop responding to someone who constantly stirs drama, or you simply choose quiet time over noisy crowds because your intuition tells you where your energy belongs. This urge is a sign of evolution. As you enter a higher path, your spirit naturally guides you toward clarity, stability, and emotional freedom. You're not avoiding life, you're choosing alignment. And that choice is exactly what prepares you for the next stage of your journey. When you begin moving onto a higher path, your energy naturally shifts, and people around you respond to it, even if you haven't said a word. Some individuals become surprisingly warm, respectful, or curious toward you. They feel the strength and clarity you now carry, and without realizing it, they're drawn to your presence. They sense growth, confidence, and steadiness, and it creates a subtle pull. On the other hand, certain people may suddenly become distant, irritated, or defensive around you. They're not reacting to who you are, they're reacting to the version of you that no longer supports their old expectations. Your growth exposes their stagnation, and it makes them uncomfortable. Instead of celebrating your shift, they might pull away or behave unpredictably. This change in reactions isn't about popularity or approval. It's simply a reflection of alignment. People who match your new frequency feel safe around you. Those who don't resonate with your growth drift away naturally. For example, you may notice a coworker treating you with more respect without any clear reason, or someone who used to drain your energy suddenly stops engaging with you. These subtle shifts show that your presence is evolving and your path is elevating. This is a sign of progress, not loss. Your energy is rearranging your environment to match where you're headed next. A powerful sign you're entering a higher path is when your sleep begins changing, often without any obvious cause. You might find yourself waking up earlier than usual, staying awake later, or having short waves of restlessness during the night. This isn't random discomfort. It's your body adapting to the energetic changes happening within you. When your mind and spirit start aligning with a higher direction, your internal rhythm recalibrates. You may feel bursts of clarity at odd hours, or suddenly wake up with new ideas or a calmer mindset. Some nights might feel unusually peaceful, while others bring vivid dreams that feel symbolic or strangely meaningful. These dreams often reflect emotional release, preparation, or intuitive messages rising to the surface. For example, you might wake up feeling refreshed, even after fewer hours of sleep. Or you may feel the need to sleep more because your body is processing emotional shifts and releasing tension. Either way, your sleep begins following a pattern that feels more aligned with how your spirit is evolving, not with your old routine. These changes are a natural part of elevation. Your body senses the shift before your mind fully understands it, adjusting itself so you can handle the new clarity, awareness, and direction that the higher path brings. As you rise into a higher path, your connection to material things begins to change. It's not that you stop caring about success or comfort, it's that the meaning behind these desires shifts. What once felt urgent, buying certain things, proving yourself, or keeping up with others, now feels strangely unimportant. You begin to care more about how things make you feel rather than how they look. This disconnect doesn't happen overnight. You may start noticing it in small moments. The clothes you used to obsess over no longer excite you, or the pressure to impress others feels unnecessary. You might even lose interest in comparing your achievements with those around you. Instead, you feel drawn to experiences, peace, personal growth, and genuine connection. For example, you may find yourself prioritizing simplicity, choosing what adds value rather than what adds noise. You might spend more time reflecting, journaling, or connecting with nature because it brings you a sense of calm that material things never truly gave. This shift is a sign of maturity and spiritual elevation. When your heart begins valuing authenticity over aesthetics and purpose over possessions, it means your path is evolving. You're learning to measure your life by inner fulfillment, not external validation. When you begin entering a higher path, everyday experiences start carrying a weight they didn't have before. A small conversation, a quiet walk, a random thought, suddenly these moments feel connected, almost like they're part of a bigger picture. You start noticing subtle patterns or messages in your day that most people overlook. This doesn't mean you're overthinking. It means your awareness is expanding. You're no longer moving through life on autopilot. You're paying attention to how things make you feel and what they might be trying to show you. The universe often communicates through simple moments, and now your mind is finally quiet enough to notice. For example, you may hear a sentence that resonates deeply, or a song randomly plays that speaks to what you're going through. You might observe how certain events line up perfectly, or how one small choice leads to an unexpected moment of clarity. These experiences remind you that life is more connected than it appears. This heightened meaning-making is a sign that your intuition is waking up. You're learning to read life with a wiser lens, and that awareness naturally guides you toward your next level. When ordinary moments feel meaningful, it's because your spirit is stepping into a higher understanding of your path. A strong indicator that you're stepping onto a higher path is the natural rise of gratitude in your daily life. This isn't the kind of gratitude you try to feel, it's the effortless kind that shows up on its own. You start appreciating quiet moments, small comforts, simple blessings, and the people who genuinely care about you. Even on challenging days, you find yourself recognizing something positive without needing to be reminded. This type of gratitude is different because it comes from inner alignment, not obligation. Your heart becomes more sensitive to what truly matters, and you begin noticing the things you used to overlook. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your face, a peaceful moment alone, or a kind gesture from someone unexpected. These moments feel more meaningful because your awareness has shifted toward what nourishes your spirit. For example, you might catch yourself feeling thankful for a calm morning, a deep conversation, or even a lesson learned from a difficult experience. You no longer rush past these moments, you acknowledge them. This effortless gratitude shows that your energy is rising. When your heart naturally opens to appreciation, it signals that you're aligning with a higher frequency, one where blessings flow more easily and clarity becomes part of your everyday life. Another sign that you're stepping onto a higher path is the sudden increase in repeating numbers or meaningful symbols showing up in your daily life. You might notice 11, 222, 444, or other number sequences appearing on clocks, receipts, notifications, or random places. These patterns aren't coincidences. They often appear when your awareness becomes more sensitive to alignment and guidance. You may also notice symbols that feel personally meaningful: feathers, specific animals, certain colors, or words that seem to follow you. What makes these signs powerful is not the object itself, but the timing. They tend to show up right when you're thinking about a decision, feeling uncertain, or questioning your direction. Their appearance gives you a sense of reassurance, almost like the universe is nudging you and saying, "You're on track." For example, you might be worrying about a next step and suddenly see a repeating number multiple times in one day. Or you might think of someone and instantly come across a sign connected to them. These moments feel strangely aligned, and they capture your attention in a way that feels intentional. This increase in symbolic patterns is a result of your heightened awareness. You're more tuned in, more receptive, and more connected to the intuitive signals guiding you toward your next level. As you step onto a higher path, a quiet but powerful confidence begins to grow inside you. It's not loud, it's not boastful, and it's not based on external validation. It's a calm inner certainty that appears even when life feels uncertain. You start trusting your judgment more, doubting yourself less, and feeling a stronger connection to your own voice. This confidence often shows up unexpectedly. You may notice that decisions you once overthought now come to you more naturally. You're not as afraid to say no, set boundaries, or walk away from situations that don't feel right. There's a new sense of clarity about what aligns with you and what doesn't, and you follow that feeling without needing approval from anyone else. For example, you might take a step you've avoided for months, simply because it finally feels right. Or you may express your thoughts more openly without rehearsing every word. You trust your instincts in a way that surprises even you. This shift is a sign of spiritual alignment. When you begin accessing a higher path, your inner strength wakes up. You stop second-guessing yourself because you can sense that you're being supported, guided, and prepared for something greater. This growing self-trust is proof that you're stepping into your true power. As you rise into a higher path, your desire for simplicity becomes stronger than your desire for stimulation. You no longer feel drawn to constant noise, endless scrolling, or environments that overwhelm your mind. Instead, you feel a pull toward clean spaces, quiet moments, and routines that bring clarity rather than chaos. This shift isn't about becoming boring or withdrawn, it's about protecting your mental and emotional energy. Your spirit begins to reject clutter, both physical and emotional. You may start organizing your room, clearing old messages, or removing apps that drain your attention. Even your conversations shift. You prefer meaningful interactions over empty chatter. For example, you may choose a peaceful evening over a crowded night out. You might turn off notifications, delete distractions, or simplify your goals because you finally understand what deserves your attention. What once entertained you now feels overwhelming, and what once felt too quiet now feels comforting. This craving for simplicity is a sign that you're aligning with your true self. When your mind stops chasing noise, your inner voice becomes clearer. And when your environment becomes lighter, your path becomes easier to follow. This is your spirit preparing you for a more focused, balanced, and elevated phase of life. Another sign you're stepping onto a higher path is the unexpected lightness you begin to feel in your body. This isn't about losing weight or changing physically. It's an internal release, as if emotional pressure you carried for years is finally loosening its grip. You start noticing that the tightness in your chest or the heaviness in your shoulders fades without you consciously trying to fix it. This change often comes after periods of emotional growth. When you let go of old stress, grudges, or fears, your body responds in its own quiet way. You may feel more relaxed throughout the day, breathe more freely, or move with less tension. Even small things, like stretching, sitting, or waking up, feel easier and more comfortable than before. For example, you might catch yourself sighing with relief for no clear reason, or realize that your body no longer tenses up when you think about certain situations. You may feel more grounded while walking or more at peace when lying down, as if your physical self is finally matching your emotional growth. This lightness is a sign of alignment. Your body is releasing what no longer belongs to you. When your spirit rises, your physical energy follows, and that inner freedom is one of the clearest signals that you're moving toward a higher, more peaceful path. A powerful sign you're stepping onto a higher path is the sudden clarity you gain about your own behavior. Instead of blaming others or avoiding your flaws, you begin noticing the patterns within yourself that need to change. This awareness doesn't feel harsh, it feels honest. You're finally able to see the habits that kept you stuck, and you're ready to outgrow them. You might realize you've been overthinking too much, giving too much, or doubting yourself more than necessary. You may notice when you're being reactive, when you avoid hard conversations, or when you let fear hold you back. These realizations come gently but consistently, almost like a mirror being held up to your inner world. For example, you may catch yourself repeating a behavior that no longer aligns with who you're becoming, like people-pleasing or procrastinating, and instead of ignoring it, you feel motivated to shift it. You don't judge yourself, you correct yourself. This self-awareness is a huge sign of growth. When you're entering a higher path, your intuition becomes stronger than your excuses. You start choosing better habits not because someone told you to, but because you genuinely want a healthier, calmer, more empowered version of yourself. This is how transformation truly begins. When you begin stepping onto a higher path, ideas and inspiration start showing up unexpectedly. It may happen while you're doing something simple, walking, showering, cooking, or even resting. A thought, solution, or creative spark appears out of nowhere, and it feels different from your usual thinking. It feels clearer, more aligned, almost like the idea was placed in your mind at the perfect moment. These bursts of inspiration aren't random. They happen because your mind is becoming more open and receptive. As old mental blocks fade, new ideas finally have space to enter. You might feel motivated to start a project you've been postponing, improve an area of your life, or change a routine that no longer supports you. The motivation feels natural, not forced. For example, you may suddenly feel excited to rearrange your room, begin a healthier habit, write something down, create something meaningful, or take a step you've been avoiding. These moments feel energizing and give you a sense of forward momentum. This increase in inspiration is a sign that your inner world is aligning with your future. When new ideas start flowing effortlessly, it means you're moving into a phase where clarity, creativity, and purpose are guiding you. It's a preview of the growth that's coming. When you're entering a higher path, memories you haven't thought about in years may suddenly return. These moments aren't random. Your mind brings them up because you're finally strong enough to process them. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you start understanding those memories with new wisdom and emotional distance. These flashbacks can be subtle: a past conversation, an old mistake, a childhood moment, or a relationship that left a mark. At first, it might feel strange or even uncomfortable, but as the memory settles, you begin to see it differently. You don't feel the same pain or confusion you once felt. You're able to reflect without getting pulled back into old emotions. For example, you may remember a moment when someone hurt you, but instead of feeling bitterness, you feel acceptance. Or you recall a time you made a decision out of fear, but now you understand what it taught you. These reflections help you close emotional chapters you didn't even realize were still open. This resurfacing is not a setback, it's emotional clearing. Your spirit is making room for new experiences by removing the weight of unresolved memories. Healing happens quietly, but its impact is powerful. When the past loses its grip on you, your future becomes easier to step into. A major sign you're moving onto a higher path is the sudden courage that appears when you need it most. Choices that once terrified you, ending a cycle, starting something new, walking away from what no longer feels right, now feel surprisingly clear. You don't need as much reassurance or validation anymore. There's an inner nudge that says, do it. This is the right move. This doesn't mean you're being impulsive. It means you're learning to trust your inner compass more than your fears. Your intuition becomes louder and your doubts become quieter. You start noticing that when you follow that first instinct, things align more smoothly. The right decision feels lighter, calmer, and more natural, even if it's unfamiliar. For example, you may suddenly feel ready to cut off an unhealthy connection, apply for something new, change your routine, or finally take action on a long-delayed plan. You might not have every detail figured out, but the urge to move forward feels strong and stable. This growing decisiveness is a sign of alignment. When you step onto a higher path, hesitation fades because clarity rises. Your choices become more intuitive, more confident, and more aligned with the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. When you begin moving onto a higher path, life starts sending help in ways that feel perfectly timed. It might be a person offering advice exactly when you needed it, an opportunity showing up unexpectedly, or a solution appearing just as you were about to give up. These moments feel too aligned to be accidents, and they give you a sense that you're being gently guided forward. This support often comes quietly. You may receive a message that lifts your mood, find resources you didn't know you needed, or get clarity on a problem you've struggled with for weeks. Even small signs, like good news on a stressful day or a sudden burst of motivation, feel like the universe meeting you halfway. For example, you might be thinking of changing something in your life and then suddenly hear someone talk about that exact topic. Or you may be worried about a situation and then receive unexpected help that eases your stress. These perfect timing moments reassure you that you're not walking alone. This pattern is a powerful sign of alignment. When blessings begin arriving just when you need them, it means your path is supported. Life is clearing the way ahead, showing you that you're stepping into a phase where things start working with you, not against you. One of the most reassuring signs you're entering a higher path is the growing sense of protection you feel, even when life is unclear. You might not know every answer, but there's a quiet inner feeling that you're being watched over, guided, or shielded from situations that aren't meant for you. It's a calm confidence that comes from within, not from external circumstances. This sense of protection often reveals itself through subtle moments. You may find yourself avoiding certain places, saying no without guilt, or trusting your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense. Later, you realize that your instinct saved you from stress, conflict, or disappointment. It's like something inside you steps forward to keep you safe before you're fully aware of what's happening. For example, you might feel uneasy about attending an event and later understand why staying away was the right choice. or a sudden delay might frustrate you at first, but ends up getting you toward a better outcome. These experiences remind you that you're being looked after in ways you can't always see. This growing sense of protection is a sign of spiritual alignment. Your energy is rising, and as it does, life begins to filter out what doesn't belong in your path. You move with more confidence because you know you're supported, even in uncertainty. A clear sign you're stepping onto a higher path is when your inner voice, the quiet, honest part of you, becomes louder than your doubts. This isn't the anxious voice that questions everything. It's the steady one that speaks with clarity, calmness, and truth. You begin sensing what feels right and what doesn't, even before you have all the facts. This shift shows up in everyday moments. You might feel a sudden no before your mind even understands why, or you might feel drawn toward a new idea, person, or opportunity without being able to explain it. Instead of brushing those feelings off, you start paying attention to them. You trust that inner pull because it feels grounded and sincere. For example, you may feel guided to distance yourself from someone, adjust a plan, or take a small step forward. Later, you realize that listening to that instinct saved you time, energy, or emotional stress. This guidance feels more reliable than overthinking, and it rarely leads you wrong. This stronger inner voice is one of the most powerful signs of spiritual elevation. When your intuition becomes clear and consistent, it means your mind and spirit are aligning. You're no longer battling yourself, you're listening to yourself. And that inner alignment is exactly what leads you onto a higher path. One of the strongest signs you're stepping onto a higher path is the quiet feeling that something new is approaching. It's not excitement or fear, it's a calm, steady awareness that change is coming and you're being pulled toward it. Even if nothing big has happened yet, you can feel the shift rising beneath the surface. This inner pull often appears as restlessness with your current situation or a desire for something deeper and more meaningful. You might feel ready to release old habits, environments, or relationships that no longer match who you're becoming. Without forcing anything, you naturally start preparing for a new chapter, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. For example, you may feel inspired to learn new skills, reorganize your space, or reflect on what you truly want. You might also lose interest in old dreams because your spirit knows they don't align with where you're headed. This feeling isn't confusion, it's alignment. It's the first signal that your life is shifting toward a version of you that's more grounded, wiser, and more in tune with your purpose. When you sense your next chapter calling, it means you're already stepping into it. Your energy is moving ahead of your circumstances, getting you toward a higher, clearer, and more meaningful path. As you can see, these signs aren't random. They appear when your spirit is rising, your awareness is expanding, and your path is shifting into a higher direction. If you've recognized even one of these changes within yourself, take it as confirmation. You're moving into a new phase of your journey, and the universe is guiding you step by step. Here on Cosmic Shift, I want you to remember this. Growth doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, and personal, but it's still powerful. Trust what you're feeling, trust the timing of your life, and most importantly, trust the version of yourself that you're becoming. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which sign did you feel the most strongly? Share your thoughts in the comments so others can feel supported on their journey too. And here's your affirmation for today. I am aligned, I am guided, and I am ready for my higher path. Comment this below to anchor it into your energy and let the universe know you're open to the next chapter. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more guidance here on Cosmic Shift. Your elevation has already begun.